What's good, Wagering World? It's your boy, 5 Star in Vegas, broadcasting live as always from beautiful Summerlin, Nevada. And here with my co-host, my guy, the only Sacramento Kings fan / Golden State Warriors part-time fan that I know. What's good, Spreadster? How are you?
It's a stressful time to be a Kings fan, man,
Yeah.
because every single report comes out, and I'm just like, are they going to blow this again? To me, it just seems like if he's there, Jaden Ivey's a layup pick. Would you agree with me?
Yeah, of
Yeah.
course. They're right behind us, right?
Yeah, we're number 4.
You would think, because as I told you, him and Davion Mitchell would be a nice backcourt for the next
Even
decade,
him
bro.
and
Davion
Fox,
Mitchell is a good
they would
player.
be so athletic. Can you imagine guys trying to stay in front of those two?
They have to trade Fox, man. I keep telling you, we'll see a
I
better
just don't
Fox.
think there's a market for him.
He's gonna have to. I think at this point they're gonna probably have to do a buyout, and he'll probably go somewhere and play for a lower amount to be amongst a winning franchise. Because I'm telling you, he disconnected from the Kings from day one because he's spoiled from winning. He's always played it since he moved to Houston from Louisiana after Katrina.
Yeah.
He's always played with elite programs, AAU, high school. Then he goes to Kentucky. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
now he goes to Sacramento, and it's a rebuild going on. They should have traded him.
It's
As we
it's
talked
a
about, and kept
perpetual
Halliburton.
rebuild.
Yeah, they should have kept
We're never
Halliburton,
gonna
man.
get. We have the worst. We have the worst owner. It's so bad. But anyways, when you ask me how I'm doing and you bring up the Kings, that's what I think, because this is a stressful week. Because I mean, like, if we pick Keegan Murray over Jaden Ivey, I mean, like, what are we doing here? I mean,
Yeah,
would you agree?
this
I
is
mean, maybe
gonna
I'm
be
wrong. You watch
ridiculous.
way more college than me, but to me,
Yeah,
like Murray, his ceiling's like a Harrison Barnes or Andrew Wiggins, right? The cool little 3-and-D
maybe.
guy that's your
Yeah,
number 3
maybe.
guy. Jaden Ivey could be
Maybe.
like a ridiculous star, like the best player on the team.
No, that's true.
So
Jalen
that's
Ivey definitely has a higher ceiling, higher
and when you
potential.
suck,
But
that's what you
Keegan
go
Murray's
for.
good, dog. He's not a
Yeah,
chump. I'm telling you, he can play. He can play,
yeah.
man.
So,
He can
so we'll
play.
see how it goes. So, but I'm getting nervous reading all these reports. I think it's what? When do we find out? When's our lottery?
Uh, Thursday,
It's the
right?
Thursday after this week.
Yeah,
I think.
Thursday after this week. Yeah,
Yeah.
because
So
they're planning
we
a
got a
lot
week.
of big parties in Houston for it. They're having a big draft party and stuff in Houston. They're all locked in on Banchero, however you say it. And I think Banchero. They're locked in on him on Palo. So
Mm.
that's what everyone's saying for the fans, but we haven't heard much from the front office.
I
Of
think
course,
that's where he'll go. It seems
yeah.
like he's head and shoulders above Ivy. Wouldn't you agree?
If we were in a need position for a point guard or a playmaker, then I would like Ivy over him. But in our
Oh,
position,
really?
yeah. I would take him over him just because, once again, Stealing. Don't get me wrong, Banchero has a chance to be a superstar, but he also has a chance to just be a regular guy too. But just because, like I said, we'll see how athletic and how fast he is. He kind of reminds me of Melo coming out, but Melo was a scoring machine, and he
Right.
might have that same type of talent, but he's kind of slower foot. I wonder about his health as far as in him keeping the pounds down, because he actually was a lot slimmer than that in high school. People saying he put on the weight on purpose at Duke, and that he's slimming back up. So we'll see about that. But he definitely was the leader of that team, and Duke made a deep run all the way to the Final Four, and he led the charge. So you do like his leadership coming in. And once again, man, it probably is locked in now that I really think about it, because he's a Seattle legend. Kevin Porter Jr. is out there, Seattle, circle, and also Raphael Stone. Raphael Stone, our GM, is actually from Seattle. So, they have a strong, strong basketball culture, a bunch of guys in the NBA from Seattle. DeJounte Murray, Crawford's from there. Um, so many dudes, man. Jason Terry, Nate Robinson, all those guys. And they kind of stay all together and stay click tight. And now that I think about it, he's one of those kids that they love in that region. So, we probably taking him. Now that I think about it, with the connections that Stone has to that city. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So
Yeah.
yeah, I think you're gonna like him. I think he's gonna fit in well with that team. So, and I think we're gonna blow it, but that's just the way of the Sacramento Kings.
Well, let's get to yesterday's news, man. We had a great one last week, another winning week. That's 20 out of 21. Uh, hey, man, as we wrap up, about to do 21 out of 22 for this final week before we take our break and prepare for football season in August, man. All I can say is let's just keep rolling, man. It's hard to find the type of information and the type of winners that we're giving out for free over here, man. And we do it all for you guys, man. We like to see you guys cash, man. So what do you think about yesterday's news, man?
3 for 3. Celtics first half. They're 4-0 first half so far in these finals. 4-0 first half, 2-2 overall. Looney over rebounds. I wrote about it today for Bookmakers Review, but what I wrote for Looney is minutes equal rebounds. He only played 15 minutes in game 3. Steve Kerr specifically said that was a mistake. I need to play him more. He played 28, and he went over there again. I expect him to go over again tonight. And then, of course, Ski and you guys, I would kind of sat back a little, right? Because we've talked about it so much, but you guys had a great debate, and Ski gave out the Warriors money line, and that one hit as well. So 2-2. It's kind of what we wanted, just as basketball fans, right? Because it feels like this one's going 7.
Yeah.
And it's going to be a lot of fun here. So looking forward to tonight, but there's nothing better than getting this 3-0 sweep to head into your weekend.
Oh, beautiful. Then you guys, we went 1-1 on the USFL. We hit the first half over, but suddenly Houston's quarterback, Kevin Summerlin did a great job of managing the game. And he put that quarterback that we spoke about in great positions, and they were actually able to pull out a money line victory over the undefeated Birmingham Stallions. And you remember last night we had another one. So it's like the USFL is getting a lot like NFL, right? Because remember last night with the Philadelphia game, that was the primetime game. They didn't cover. They want, clear favorite. Much better. So USFL is gonna be here to stay if they keep putting out these games like this and getting Vegas rich. You know what I'm saying? So it's a nice little league. You guys check out the USFL, man. It's interesting. It's better football than I really thought that it was going to be. It ends up.
I like it. Some people don't like it. I think it's cool. I like it as an alternative.
Yeah.
But the thing is with these leagues is they got to stick. You got to get storylines to go. I mean, you got to have a defending champion. You have to have a defending MVP. You have to, comeback player of the year, right? I mean, these things take time for these storylines to develop. So I just hope they have enough funding because it's never going to start off really good, right? You got to let these teams go. And I just love that the Houston are called the Gamblers because I think that's just, I'm down to just get a Houston.
And they're not even going to the playoffs horrible. But this year they all are playing in Birmingham and playing at the same stadium, and then they're having the playoffs at Canton at the Pro Football Hall of Fame. That starts not this weekend, but the following one. And it's going to be interesting. The 4 teams that are going can really play. So it's going to be some good games, definitely. And I just am interested to see as the league moves forward. Do they allow the teams? Do they allow the teams to go to the destinations that are assigned to the mascot, or do they have Houston based in Houston playing somewhere like maybe University of Houston? Do they allow the New Orleans Breakers to go to New Orleans and play in the Superdome? Things like that, right? And then after that, can you add on to the league and add a couple more major cities and get them involved in the league? But getting back to Friday's game, as you said, just as we laid it down, I gave you first half spread, gave you the over on the rebounds with Looney, and Ski was right on point with the money line. And also, I got to say, Steph looked like the best player in the series. I guess he saw my video and said, you're a fan of mine. What are you talking about? And he put on a show, man, for the ages. When I was saying that too, don't get me wrong. When I always can say without any doubt that Steph is the best offensive player in every series. When I say that he wasn't the best player in the series is what I mean by ceiling on defense. And as you saw at the beginning of last game, even though the Warriors came out victorious, when the Celtics had the lead and were running and had control of the game, a lot of it had to do with the defense that Brown and Tatum were playing, causing deflections, causing havoc. Then with Marcus Smart, they all, are some very good wing defenders, very good on switches as well. Tatum gets a couple blocks too, seems like every game as well. So that's what I was speaking of when I say best player. I mean two-way player. And it's funny that a guy I follow on Twitter was just talking about that. He was saying it seemed like everyone's specialist now, that none of the NBA coaches really even make their players play two-way anymore. So shout out to Steph Curry, Wardell Curry, man. He's unbelievable. I don't know about top 10, but number 1 all-time shooting threes. And that's something to say in a league that has had Reggie Miller and Ray Allen. You know what I mean? So shout out to the chef, man. He put on a show. I'll be interested to see tonight. Can he follow up? And is his shoulders wide enough and strong enough to continue to carry these guys. Because sooner or later, he's going to have a Draymond showing, right?
What do you mean? He's going to have a bad game, or Draymond's going to have to show up?
Draymond's going to have a showing. He's going to have to show up sooner or later to help him.
I mean, he had 9 rebounds and 8 assists in that last game. He just can't score. He just can't score.
Okay.
Like, I don't know, 2. I mean, like, okay, on the game-winning play, right, or the game-deciding play, right?
Yeah.
Where he drives and he assists to Looney, right?
You're right.
Great play. He was 3 feet from the rim. Yeah. Any normal basketball coach is going to tell you to shoot that, right? I mean,
really dunk it, attack the rim. Yeah.
It's getting to be like Ben Simmons. The only difference is they're winning, and in California we're chill, and in Philadelphia they're really, really mad about everything in the whole world. So yeah, but I mean, it's getting to the point where he looks scared. He looks scared to shoot. Fortunately, he can impact the game in other ways, and I felt that he did that. But he also got a little bit of an eye-opening experience, right? Because Kevon Looney played those crucial minutes with 7 minutes to go when Draymond Green went to the bench, and Kevon Looney got those minutes. And I don't hate that, because if Draymond's only in there for defense and rebounding and intensity, Looney can pretty much provide that. He's a better rim protector. He's just as good as a rebounder. And of course, he's not as good as a switch defender or on the ball defender or perimeter defender or one-on-one guy, but he's okay. And he's also not afraid to shoot. So if you give Looney the ball in the paint, he's going straight to the rim, and he's either going to make the shot, get fouled, or get his own rebound, right? I mean,
right.
You know, he's really adept around the rim. He understands his role as a big man. And I thought that Steve Kerr, you know, made a great decision there. And of course, everything's hindsight, because if things fall apart, then it wasn't a good decision. But since it worked out, you know, you have to give him credit for that. So, yeah, it'll be interesting to see. I think that he brings enough to the team, because they are so good at scoring otherwise, right? When you got Clay, Jordan Poole, and of course Steph, you can kind of get away. But boy, I mean, when these guys talk about playing 4-on-5, right? I always thought it was kind of like a euphemism, you know, or just something, you know, to say to get attention. I mean, it really looks like that, how far they're playing off him. Yeah, I mean, it's like he's literally not on the court on offense, even when he has the ball.
What's killing me with that, what even them playing in that type of defense and sagging out for him and leaving him open, Coach Udoka is really, really, really making me question just how sharp he really is, because he seemed to be defiant at the press conference saying that he wasn't going to blitz Curry like they blitzed KD. And I'm like, why? Like, at this point, he's the only person that's really affecting the game offensively for the Warriors. Like, don't have so much pride in your system. Now,
I read about that, and I guess he's not comfortable with his backside defensive rotations, and that's why they don't do that, because he says that it worked against KD, but he's just worried because he said that the rotations don't work out right. And I read, it was an athletic article by Jared Weiss.
You have to get the ball out of Steph's hands as soon as he touches it.
I would agree. Isn't that what Toronto did in 2019?
You gotta let somebody else beat you. It's clear and obvious that Steph's looking for a shot. Like, you gotta pretty much get on him full court. And I wouldn't be surprised if Marcus Smart does that tonight. You gotta jump on him as soon as the ball's in and you're on him. If they run you off a pick, you got to switch to him, and the next guy's on him. And when he's backing up, he's just trying to get room to shoot, man. He can shoot it easily from 35. So you got to keep going back with him. I'm seeing them stop after they get maybe a little bit over the arc, and he's being able to step back again from on them to maybe like 33, and he's shooting that like a free throw. Like, this is Steph Curry, dude. Like, what are y'all doing? Like, you think you just got to guard the arc to 30 feet with him? Like, you have to go the whole court, full court pressure on him. You need to have Marcus Smart not even think about shooting the game. Just when he brings in the ball, and when Derek White come in, the same thing. You go get Steph and follow him everywhere, because the other guys on the team aren't playing well enough for them to beat them if they could just hold Curry under 30. Like, the Celtics coach even said, we're pretty much holding them to the same thing every night. What's happening is we can't score enough to get over the hump on a couple of these games, you know. So, dude, why don't, instead of trying to score more, why don't you try to keep Curry down 8 to 10 more points? Like, I don't understand him saying that philosophy And now
You know
I'm
where
like,
that comes from, right? That's
what's
the
that?
Popovich thing. Budenholzer doesn't do it. Kerr doesn't. It's like they want to stick to their principles, right?
Okay,
And
I
Popovich is already
respect
doing it.
all of that, but you
I do
have
too.
to.
I'm with you. I think it's a mistake.
Yeah.
I would double him the second he went across the court,
Yes, man.
especially when you have the help. You have the guys that he. I mean, if it doesn't
Make
work,
them,
right?
make
It
them make
doesn't work.
plays.
But yeah,
Make someone else make
the
a
thing
play,
is,
man.
it's worked against so many other teams, right? It worked against Denver. You let Jokic go for 40. You still beat him by 10. It worked against Milwaukee. You let Giannis go for 40 and you still beat them. It worked against Miami. You just let Jimmy get his and you keep everyone else down. The only team they did it to was Kevin Durant. And I don't think that's as much about Kevin Durant as much as just saying, bro, like you got a bunch of G Leaguers around you.
Yeah, that's true.
And I
Yeah,
think
he's
he's
not
just
worried
giving the
about the
Warriors.
backside. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean it's a little different, Jordan Poole or Bruce Brown, right? And
Right.
so Jordan Poole or Andre Drummond, right? I mean, these are. Yeah, I agree with you, but I just don't think it's going to happen. When he said that, I didn't think he was lying. You know, sometimes these coaches lie, like they straight up
No, he
lie.
wasn't lying. That's why I'm
I think
upset.
it's the
I
truth.
thought he wasn't lying. He was being
Yeah.
honest as he could, as Abe, you know. So, and this is the thing. When they brought him in, it's actually brilliant by Brad Stevens, because I'm sure he got his hands still all over a lot of stuff that they do and a lot of input, you know. But I'm sure he also stepping back and letting Coach Udoka coach. But it was brilliant what he did. As you know, everyone was tone deaf to him in that locker room. He brought in a big imposing guy that they really respect and like in Udoka, who they listened to. You know, they didn't listen to Brad. They didn't respect him. So as an ex-player and that type of stuff, you know, in the Instagram times, you know, he wasn't cool. So they brought in a guy who knows basketball, put in a long time, but also gets a lot of respect amongst the players. You know what I mean? So, and that's why he's able to pass his message and they react and they listen. But sometimes it has to be more than just motivation. You have to switch up the game plan a little bit, man. Like you have to throw something else at them, and maybe he's playing a little bluff, a little poker, and he's going to actually do something different tonight. But I'll be very interested to see that, because as you know, I've been on the Celtics all 2022 after a loss. I'm on them, so we'll see what they do tonight. I'm not giving it out as a play. But in my opinion, I would lean Celtics tonight. What's your opinion on the game tonight? I know we're both taking different stuff as the ball and parlay.
I'm just back on the Warriors. They're 10-1 at home.
What's your reasoning behind?
I mean, they're 10-1 at home, and of course, you're going to point to that one loss was to Boston in Game 1. But I just love backing this team at home. I think we get great performance from all the the Bielikas, the Jordan Pooles, the Otto Porters, right? Maybe you can get some Kuminga minutes, right? This team just plays so much better at home. They're also front runners. If things get hot, right? They're like a snowball going down a hill. Once they start rolling, they're really hard to stop. And I think they're going to win the third quarter again. For whatever reason, Boston's not good in the third quarter. The Warriors are great in the third quarter. The key is they just can't get out to that big hole. And I think at this point we see a close first half, which puts them in great position to finish off this game. But I have a play that I like even more than that one, because it's tough to go against a team that has not lost this postseason against the spread, coming up a loss. So why don't I just give that to you right now? Who's the other guy that zigzags every single time, right? Your guy.
Yeah.
So he's had 3 games this season so far where he scored less than 21 points.
You forgot the T.
Oh, let me adjust that real quick. While I do that,
go get Tom.
Yeah. All right, let's try this.
All right, there we go.
3 games this season, he scored less than 21 points.
Yeah.
Postseason. He's followed with 30, 31, and 39. And I've said it before, and that was part of the reason why we were really high on the Warriors the last game. Doesn't have 2 good games in a row.
Right.
He also doesn't have 2 bad games in a row, right?
No.
He's literally the definition of zigzag. Like, they might as well put his face on those little orange wrappers for all the weed smokers out there, right? Because he's zigzagging like crazy here. I'm going back to Jason Tatum. I think he has a huge night. I think he's going to get involved early and often. And I think that also, the adjustment they might not make on Steph, but I also think that they will make the offensive adjustment to not just let him work one-on-one against Wiggins, who's done a very good job on him. But we know this is the new NBA. Teams are switch happy. You don't have to work against the guy that they assigned to you. And in fact, it's not the smart strategy to do. You should be personally picking the men you go against. And I think there'll be a concerted effort from the Celtics to get Tatum involved early tonight. Another thing, what's the Celtics' big problem that they have? Turnovers.
Yeah.
Who was the team that never had any turnovers back in their prime? Your guys, the Houston Rockets. Why?
Yep.
Because they never passed.
Nope.
You can't get a turnover when you're just dribbling the ball around, right? So it makes sense to me that they would try to get him working early against players that they think he has an advantage in. I think Tatum has a big night tonight. I think the Warriors can't absorb it and still get the win, but I really think the safest play is to go back to this Tatum over 27.5.
Yeah, I'm on that one too. I'm on Tatum over 27.5 for sure. With you. Also, they're still putting out good numbers on Brown. I saw like a 24.5, 23.5. I think they both go for 30 actually.
You know who I'd like on Brown if you're going to play it? Just play the first half.
Yeah. See, I don't have that option.
Oh, okay. We were crushing that on our live show. The first half numbers. Oh man!
No, but I after the show, I'm going to get that info from them. We're going to see if we could do something with it.
Yeah, it was on DraftKings.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, I definitely like Tatum going over. Like I said, I lean Celtics tonight just because of they haven't lost 2 games in a row, all playoffs, all 2022 with their starting lineup. I expect Horford and those guys to really impose their will. Robert Williams. I expect them to play some gritty defense, and I just expect them to make the adjustments necessary. They sounded very confident in the press conferences. Don't get me wrong, I know people are supposed to, but I really can tell when people are just talking and when people really feel it from the heart. And in their heart, they feel like that they can go to Golden State and win again in San Francisco. So they've been the best road team in the playoffs. So we truly have a good finals this year. We got the best road team in the playoffs, the best home team in the playoffs, the best defense, 2 best defensive teams in the league. So this is a great matchup, and they got to win tonight. I think we're going 7, and I don't know if they do it this game or game 7, but I've been saying all the time I like the Celtics in 7. So we'll see how that plays out. My ticket sure hopes that it goes that way. I'm giving you guys out something a little bit more trustworthy because, as we said, we got 2 of the best teams, and anything can happen in the NBA tonight. We're going to do a 2-team parlay. We're going to go with Hurkacz. He's playing in Germany in the Halle ATP. Halle, is that how you pronounce that?
I don't know.
Yeah, I think it's Halle. Yeah, it's an ATP. And then we got Berrettini. He's going to be in London. That's a little bit easier to say. London ATP. Hurkacz, man, will be taking on the American Maxime Cressy. Cressy just doesn't have the pulse to beat Hurkacz. Hurkacz is going to be tuning up, getting ready for a Wimbledon run. He's pretty good on grass. He's done hit the quarterfinals a couple times in Wimbledon, and I think that he'll be able to handle Cressy pretty easily. Cressy is a good server. If he gets hot from serve, he might compress it to a tiebreaker or maybe even 3 sets. But I think in the end, Hurkacz is able to control it and get the victory. Berrettini is the best guy on grass right now. If he's healthy, as he was looking against Andy Murray, expect him to get to at least the semifinals in London. In Wimbledon. And in this London tournament, Brad's preparing. He just won the ATP last week in Germany. So I think he's really just picking up steam, getting his game back together. His forehand looked amazing. He was spraying it everywhere across the field. He looked real mobile too, spread. He was covering a lot of court. So he looks like he's almost all the way back. I just don't see any way that Dan Evans, even though Dan Evans will be at home, he'll be in his hometown of London. I don't see him being able to stay with Berrettini. They had a classic match last year in the first round. Berrettini beat him in the tiebreaker in the first set and then handled him pretty easy in the second set. I think the pattern will be somewhat the same. I just don't see how Dan Evans can break Berrettini's serve at all. Whereas I could see Berrettini actually breaking Dan's because Dan is a little erratic at time with his combinations. So we're going to go with Parlay, both ATP men. It's going to be Hurkacz and Berrettini. The 2-teamer plays plus 104. So $100 will pay you 104. And me and Spread both agree on Tatum going over 27.5. We've only been hearing everywhere on every media outlet that it's a time for a Tatum breakout game. Because don't you agree, spread? If it ends right now, my ticket with Jaylen Brown MVP cashes, right? If the Celtics won right in 6, right?
Oh no.
Who went? How can they not give it to him?
Because everyone just loves Tatum.
It's crazy, right? Like Brown has
They
all
act
the
like he's so much better.
I don't get it, man. I don't know what I guess. Maybe it's because Brown, Brown from up your way, he went to Cal. The troublemakers to go to Cal in their opinion. So he's real political. He's a real strong
I don't
political.
think that's it. I think Tatum plays more like Kobe, and they just like that because he gives you more highlights.
Yeah, he plays like
they
Kobe,
like all that ISO stuff.
Yeah, he plays like Kobe on the jumper, but he's never been as fluid and as acrobatic as Kobe on Kobe's first step, and his moves when he get inside the paint was beautiful. It was only next to Jordan and Grace. It was a little bit different, but because it was his style, but it wasn't because he's a little bit longer and taller than Jordan. Jordan was the perfect height, for what he used to do. That 6'5", 6'6" is always the best looking dunks, best looking because it's just the perfect size to fly to the basket a little bit. Whereas when you like Kobe 6'8", 6'9", it looks a little different. So, but he definitely was the most graceful. I don't see that in Tatum. I see the jump shot and the shooting ability. It's very similar, difficult shot making, but he has to work on that. I don't like how the moves he does when he go to the rim at all. It's almost makes me as mad as Cat. Like I'm serious, dude. I like when Jaylen Brown make a move to the basket. The only problem with Jaylen Brown, he turns the ball over too much. He turns it over when he gets in the lane. His dribble is not tight in the lane. He needs to go do some dribbling drills all summer long. Where they're like, remember we used to doing where they're throwing the padding at your arms and stuff. He needs to do that like from sundown to sunup because he doesn't have a strong dribble hand. When he gets any contact, it's a turnover. But we'll be looking at the game tonight, man. We got a very, very important game, Game 5 coming up tonight from San Francisco. I'm sure the whole world will be tuned in. NBA will be putting on the show for us tonight, and I look forward to watching. Anything for the people before we leave, Spread?
No, looking forward to a fun game. We'll be back tomorrow.
Yeah, we'll see you guys tomorrow. You follow my guy Spread at Spread ASTAIRE. Follow me at 5-Star in Vegas, pull out the 5. Subscribe to his YouTube channel, which is his name, Spread ASTAIRE. Subscribe to my YouTube channel, which is 5-Star in Vegas Sports Investments. We're here on SCOON TV Monday through Friday. Subscribe to SCOON TV. Best of luck to y'all. We'll see you tomorrow.